However, this question is using an economic lens, a rising industry. Rogue states often take terrorism as a part of their foreign policy. Hello everyone, I am Soumyaranjan Pati. Welcome to Soumya's Diary. There was a question in UPSC examination. The theme of the question was terrorism is emerging as a competitive industry over the last few decades. Let's try to explore the dimension. Traditionally, terrorism is conceived as an instrument for political goal. However, this question is using an economic lens, a rising industry. That means there are suppliers and there are buyers. Again, a competitive industry means market forces are operating and more number of players are entering into this industry and increasing the competition. Rogue states often take terrorism as a part of their foreign policy. There is an economic share. Through terrorism, they can continue war at low cost and do significant harm to the target state. Not only that, if you have a strategic location, you can use such activity to control and influence traffic through those areas. Moreover, when a politics fails to yield the result, terrorism provides a way forward. Thus, in pursuance of domestic interest, state often resort to this kind of activity. However, such activity demand money for inducement. The money is generated either through state sponsorship or through illegal trade or donation. There is need of motivation towards the goal. Thus, organizations and their branches are developed across the globe and they are camouflaged in the name of charity organization. They also use multi-layering technique. Multi-layering means using cash to purchase property and then sell it to create shell companies, invest in stock market and route the money through the tax havens and transfer it through Hawala network. So it is really tough to track the source. You might be thinking that there is a financial action task force. There is a mechanism to check such activities. There are national institutions and agencies. Then how do they bypass? Cash, Hawala route, shell companies, they provide a secure passage. Sometimes they are intercepted by the agencies. Then these organizations change their name, their assets transfer to the alibis, and they start operating again. Then the question arises, why even the democratic nation states are pursuing it? Because it provides an easy way forward, it is a low cost option, and there is low accountability. When states directly involved in such activity, it is called state terrorism. However, they don't. Since human rights issues are involved, so they involve the third parties. They are provided resources for that. This is known as state-sponsored terrorism. However, this is not the only reason for terrorism. There are many other dimensions as well. Let's explore. So the first one is cultural reasons. Samuel Huntington highlighted in his thesis Clash of Civilization. You can observe ISIS as one of the physical manifestation of such phenomena. There is also a threat to the identity, that is identity crisis. We have discussed this phenomena. Now, the second reason is ethnic and territorial factors. Presently, there are around 3,500 nations accommodated in around 200 states. That means every nation doesn't have own state. So they resort for warfare. Examples, Kurds, Chechens, Palestinians. Then the next factor is socio-economic conditions. Socio-economic conditions many times provide conducive climate. Historical injustice is highlighted, destitutes have no resort but embrace the terrorism. When source of livelihood is challenging, easy terror finance glitters and attracts the youth. Many times, politico-historical factors can give birth to terrorism. For example, Chechen developed against Russian interests. Al-Qaeda emerged against US interest. Irish nationalists evolved against British interest. Moreover, collapse of communism provided path to such activities. After all, the means is same for both, that is the violence. When there is a socio-economic condition and politico-historical reason, youths are polarized, brainwashed, and finally recruited as candidates for terrorism. However, there are supporting factors too. For example, globalization created economic burden on local community, brought social transformation that brought frustration and aggression. Moreover, cultural domination created identity crisis, thus promoted terrorism. Wahhabism is a manifestation of such phenomena. Similarly, activities of leaders in Pakistan, Iraq, Iran, Sudan, Syria, Libya, they promoted terrorism. It is a logical extension of their failure politics. Similarly, a bad condition of migrants provide a easy forward to terror industry. Thus, they become an easy recruit. Many times, domino effect of terrorism is visible due to multinational reach of the organization and its member. Media also plays its role by portraying an interesting, exciting picture of terrorists. Thus, we appreciated various direct and indirect factors for development of terrorism, and we observed that such activities normally involve violence. But violence is visible across the human history. Violence against state, resistance to king killing its sepoys. However, terrorism is different from it in the sense that it is done against innocent citizens. Moreover, in a modern state, there are many levers that can be used to resist the state. We followed a non-violent freedom struggle under Mahatma Gandhi. But when the actions does not conform to the constitutional or legal means, it becomes illegal force. It becomes illegitimate force. Terrorists use this force to coerce state machinery to achieve their goal, mostly a political goal. Thus, it spreads terror among the civilians, control the population with the grab of power. Then why countries are not coming together? The simple reason is conflict of interest. You will be astonished to know that there is no common definition of terrorism. Though international bodies are there to check the financial transfer, they are not able to pursue their goal as there is no sustained concerted global effort. Then how to counter it? What should be the strategy? Let's explore. So the first one is removing the conducive conditions that promote terrorism. Lack of education makes a person vulnerable to religious polarization, brainwashing. Again, poverty compels person to look opportunity even in the terror industries. Similarly, conditions of illegal migrants make them vulnerable for terror recruit. Thus, suitable policy intervention should be there. Media can be used as a tool to counter the narratives of terrorist organizations. Moreover, media will help in developing a public perception about the issue. It will sensitize about the means followed by the terrorist group, thus reducing their allurement. Similarly, state need to undertake de-radicalization measures, engaging the NGO and civil society organizations. On the other hand, state should improve the efficiency of criminal justice system, thereby improving the respect for rule of law in the society. Now let's discuss the strategic measures. To counter the terrorist group, ground measure should be taken by developing military and paramilitary forces. The ground group should be given proper training and intelligence. Then we need to increase our preparedness by using intelligence network, carrying out preemptive strike. Preemptive strike increases the cost of activities for terrorist group, thus provides benefit to us. We should also have counter-terrorism policy and information war policy. The next one is diplomatic engagement. Diplomatic engagement to facilitate intelligence sharing and counter-terror financing. finance is the bloodline of terrorism. Once financial sources die, the terror network will be dismantled. However, aggressive ground action and similar policy may portray a picture of state terrorism. Thus, we need to work for a political subversion. Political subversion means neutralize terrorist group at political level by influencing, dominating or displacing individuals or group who support terrorism. Then let's discuss about the capacity building. For building state capacity, we need efficient institutions. National Investigation Agency works at central level to investigate terrorism related issues. There is a multi-agency center platform through which inputs are provided to state agencies. MSC had also launched National Memory Bank integrated with Threat Management System. The Memory Bank is a classified electronic library. We also have National Intelligence Grid, which empower user agencies using ICT technology. We also have Combating Financing and Terrorism Cell in the Home Ministry to combat terrorist finance and fake Indian currency note. A terror funding and fake currency cell is functioning under the National Investigation Agency. Then we need to promote rule of law. For that, we need efficient criminal justice system, better legal regime like Money Laundering Act, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. We also need to establish enforcement agencies like Narcotics Control Bureau, Enforcement Directorate to detect the layering of terrorist activities. Moreover, we need to respect human rights while promoting such action that will create a good image of the state. Thank you very much for your precious time. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Such value-added content, stay connected to me.